Right. Checking a few things here and there. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. It's a rainy Thursday here in South Texas. I'm looking out my window right now. The rain has stopped a little bit. It's been crazy because we haven't gotten a lot of rain recently. But hey, it's time. It's time to get the rain. It's time. Okay, because it's spring. I just planted my bell peppers. I just planted my squash. I just planted some beans, etc. So it's time. It's time. But anywho, uh, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Good day. Uh, this is me. Hi, hello. Charles Austin here, the Human Diet Coach. And I'm here on another wonderful, thriving Thursday, bringing you all the helpful tips to help you with your longevity and to keep you happy, healthy, and fit forever. So we come here every Thursday. I've been off for a few weeks. Took a little bit of a break. Take breaks from every now and again. Super important for your health. But here we are today. So I'm gonna dive right. Oh, follow me Facebook, Instagram, Twitter X at Human Diet Coach. So I have been, I have been working on epidemiological nutrition for 15, 20 years. I don't know, long time. And as an epidemiologist, one of the things that you are good at noticing is trends and patterns. I spent time working with the State Department of Health back when the COVID pandemic hit, and we had to focus on the disease trends and associated with COVID, right? Who's getting it? How are they being affected? Age groups, ethnicities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I also spent time working with STDs, with their disease trends, et cetera. But for the most part, I have focused on tracking the disease trends associated with lifestyle habits and nutrition. And so the vast majority of my career is in epidemiological nutrition, right? So as an epidemiological nutritionist, right, one of the things that I notice again as an epidemiologist, one of the things that I notice very, very well are patterns and trends. That's literally what we're trained to do in school, is to notice disease patterns, trends based on statistical data and analysis. And you use all of that stuff to make sure that you can influence the public to make better choices to get rid of that disease. That's literally epidemiology in a nutshell. Some people do it in different sectors, but my area of expertise is going to be in human longevity and the nutrition of the human body. So with all that being said, one of the things I tend to do often is, if I make a post that starts to go a little bit nuts, a little bit crazy, is I say, well, time to make a video about it. And that's today. So I made a post today on my Threads account, and all the thread said was why. The thread literally said why take Ozempic when you can take fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans, grains, and exercise, right? And with a question mark on it. And boy, went crazy after that. And some of the stuff was just regular, like, bot immature insults, which I don't really reply to those. But then some of the other stuff was like, insulting integrity and expertise and things like that, which again, I don't really take to heart, but I do like to go ahead and respond, not necessarily to that, but to the subject matter at hand. So with that being said, you probably have heard of things like Ozempic and Wegovy, and what are those other ones? Some of the other ones I can't think of. I have a list here. What is it? Ozempic, Victoza, Trulicity, etc. Rybelsus. There's a whole bunch of different types of GLP-1 drugs, okay? And so they're very, very popular now. Now they've been around for maybe 15, 20 years or so, something like that. So they're not necessarily new, but they're also not necessarily old, because if you think about the lifespan of a human, which should be well into their hundreds, that's what it should be. Let's keep that in mind. Many people want to tell you that your lifespan, it should be in your 60s, 70s, or whatever, 80s, whatever it is now. It changes, it fluctuates. The lifespan is actually starting to go down. All right. But you really should be living well into your hundreds. Okay. And so if you think about that, if you're supposed to live well into your hundreds, but even if the lifespan is 70 years old, a 15-year-old drug or 20-year-old drug or whatever, it's not it's not long enough to really say we know everything about the long-term side effects and the long-term effects of such a drug. So the whole purpose of this video is to basically dispel the myth that if you're somebody who is type 2 diabetic, or someone who is struggling with weight loss, I'm not necessarily sure that, again, a pill, a drug, a shot, or whatever is necessarily the best route. As you probably know, in today's age, there are many different types of pharmaceutical drugs, and we see them on the commercials all the time, whether they're talking about treating diabetes, obesity, what is it? What is the common one? The skin issue, eczema. There are so many. And what they normally do is they always have the part of the video or the commercial where they have all the side effects. Okay. And that's basically the premise of today. So anyway, let's get into it. I don't want to be long. Because I have to finish up my last meal. It's time for me to do my next 24-hour fast. And my last meal, I've already had a shake, and it's time for me to eat a little bit and make sure I'm good to go. So then my next meal won't be until tomorrow night around this time. So let's get into it real quick. So what is where is it at? There we go. Thank you very much. All right, cool. Yo, I'm literally eating oatmeal because it was the quickest thing I could find that was nutritious. There's my oatmeal. All right. So if you see me on here eating, like I said, oh well, I'm getting ready. I got to finish up. It's time for me to do my next 24-hour fast. So real quick, why in the world do people normally take GLP-1s, right? Well, the normal reason, two main reasons. Two main reasons why people will be on a GLP-1 drug. Number one, and not in any particular order, but diabetes, type 2 specifically, and then also overweight and obesity. So what I want to do real quick is basically just go over real quick. Obesity. What is it, right? We pretty much know what it is, right? You're carrying too much weight, okay? So what are the causes of overweight and obesity, okay? So as you can see here, overweight and obesity can develop over time when you consume more calories than you use, yada, yada, yada. But as you see here, look at the main causes of overweight and obesity. Lack of physical activity. Okay, and if we're wondering about the source, we are on the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. Okay, sources are right here. See where we're looking. All right, lack of physical activity, unhealthy eating behaviors, right? So, the number of calories, eating too much saturated fat, eating foods high in sugar, etc. Now, the other things include things like not getting enough sleep. Some people are predisposed to have their genes activated by their lifestyle, etc. But again, everybody know, and sleep is a big one, actually. Sleep is actually one that must be mentioned. Sleep is super important. But physical activity and diet, nutrition is super important. Now, again, the other reason why people will take GLP-1s is if they are suffering from type 2 diabetes. So what happens in media lots of times is people just say diabetes. They throw that around all the time. They say diabetes, diabetes, but we're not necessarily talking about which one. I literally was looking at a post online earlier where somebody was talking about how are you possibly getting diagnosed with diabetes in this day and age? And a lot of the comments that came along under that post was, I got type 1. I'm type 1. I'm type 1. Type 1's autoimmune, yada, yada, yada. So the thing is, the vast majority of people that suffer from diabetes are type 2. Literally like 95% of the people who are diabetic are type 2 diabetes or type 2 diabetic. So type 1 diabetes, real quick, that's an autoimmune disorder. And that's when you don't necessarily make enough insulin, or you don't even have enough insulin to help your body generate energy through your cells, right? So that's type 1. That's not the one we're talking about with GLP-1s. So again, we're not talking about type 1 diabetes with GLP-1s. We're talking about type 2 diabetes with GLP-1s, right? So type 2 diabetes happens when your body can't necessarily use insulin correctly, okay? And look, boy, oh boy, I'm looking over to the side and I'm like, what do you see? Huh? What do y'all see? What do you see? A good old Ozempic ad, all right? Right on cue. But anyway, and this is how they get you. This is how they get you. I'm on the Mayo Clinic, right? And of course, the Mayo Clinic is great at providing information, okay, about how things work. They've been around forever, but they have partnerships. Okay, so you got to take a lot of stuff with a grain of salt. There's an ad here for Ozempic because I'm on type 2 diabetes page. That's the correlation between both of these things here. So instead of there being an ad about accessing a better plant-based diet or something like that, or how to increase your activity, we have an ad for Ozempic. But anyway, type 2 diabetes is basically when your body can't use insulin properly. You have an issue with processing sugar, so it builds up into your bloodstream, which is not what you want. So one of the solutions that's very common, specifically now, is GLP-1s, all right? So GLP-1s, what the heck are those, okay? GLP-1 agonists are medications, like we said, that help manage blood glucose, type 2 diabetes, and some of them actually help you with obesity. So GLP stands for, as it says right here, glucagon-like peptide 1. And that's basically, excuse me, glucagon is basically a hormone inside your body that you use, that your body will use sometime if you don't need a lot of blood sugar at that time. Okay, so again, where was I? All right, so GLP-1 agonists. So how do they work? Okay, so basically, and again, glucagon is different from insulin. Insulin is, when you have a lot of blood glucose in your bloodstream, your pancreas secretes insulin to help take that blood glucose out of your bloodstream to send it inside your cells. Glucagon, again, when you don't have a lot, it's going to raise your blood sugar as needed. Okay. So anywho, first thing it does is it makes your pancreas release insulin. Okay. So right off the bat, we have a drug that we're taking, and it's literally stimulating your pancreas to release more insulin. Okay. And which this is something that's supposed to happen naturally. But now we're taking a foreign substance and we're telling it to go ahead and stimulate my pancreas to make more insulin. Okay. The other thing it does is it blocks glucagon secretion. Again, I apologize. So unprofessional to eat on a live. I know I have to talk and eat at the same time, but I got to get this meal in before a certain time so I can start my 24-hour fast. It just is what it is, y'all. I practice what I preach. Okay. So please bear with me here. I'm going to do my best not to chew all into the microphone. And hopefully I can take some pauses here and there in just a second. So it blocks glucagon as well. And so again, as it says, it prevents more glucose from going into your bloodstream. And as I said a second ago, this is the hormone that your body uses to raise your blood sugar levels as needed. So if you're low, we get some glucagon. Okay. Now, slowing stomach emptying. This also kind of, excuse me. That's what happens when you eat. Slowing stomach emptying is something that kind of rubs me the wrong way, just because you are literally telling your body to keep the food in your stomach longer than it normally would. So your body normally has a process and a time based on what you eat, based on your digestive health, and that's going to determine how long the food stays in your stomach. But now you're taking a drug that's literally telling your body to keep the food in the stomach longer. Okay, increase your man. I always struggle with this word. Sati, keeping you full. I always struggle with that word. Okay, satiety. Anyway, that basically means you feel full. Okay, and so now the drug is telling your stomach that you're full, maybe when you're not. And then again, also it's keeping stuff in the stomach a little bit longer than it normally would. So again, that's basically the basis behind GLP-1s. And again, the reason why these things are effective with weight loss and type 2 diabetes is because of these reasons right here. If you're feeling full, you're going to eat less. So now you're consuming less calories, which helps with your caloric restriction. It also going to help with lowering your blood sugar because again, less food in the system, less blood sugar. All right. So that's the basics. I don't need to get too deep. Now that we got the basics out of the way, okay. Now that we got the basics out of the way, what's the issue? Okay. So again, what's the problem? What's the issue? Again, many people are on these drugs. And like I said, when I made my post earlier, man, when I tell you I got attacked from so many people left and right, it was great. I didn't expect this. A lot of times I make videos and posts and things, and I just expect it to be informative or inquisitive. But the energy behind it is like, whoa, this is like a big deal. Like we see it on the commercial all the time. I see it on social media all the time. But you never know how big it is until you actually start talking to people and get the conversation going. So what I did is I wanted to make sure I found some research that was credible to kind of explain the safety behind these drugs. Now, again, many people will claim that they're aware of these things. It's not a big deal. But remember, the doctor that gave this to you is literally, for the most part, not trying to kill all doctors with my words, not literally, right? Entertainment, education purposes only. I am a non-enemy combatant. I come in peace. So many of the doctors out there are literally giving you the drugs because it's going to get them more money. I can tell you a personal story. I literally just went to the doctor the other day for a checkup. And while I'm at the checkup, the doctor says, hey, is there anything else going on with you and your body? And I was like, sometimes my back gets tight, and I like to go to like a Rasti, to have them massage it out sometimes because I have a little discomfort or something. So, as I'm there, and then later on, so a week later, I get an email about the insurance claim and everything, and then it says you've been billed for 2 appointments, and they said now you owe a copay, even though preventative care is covered at 100%, literally from literally every insurance company. And so I called the insurance company up, and then they say I call the insurance company up, and then they say, well, the reason why you got billed extra is because when the doctor asked you, was there, how's everything going? What else is going on? And you say, oh, I get some back tightness. They said, oh, that's another appointment. And now we're going to bill you. And now you got a copay of $50 or whatever. And I said, you must be crazy. So I called them, told them to do a coding review. It's in review right now. But there's no way they're getting that cash from me. But my point is, they're after your money, many of them. Now, this doesn't mean all, because this is literally the first time that specific event has happened in my life. But I have been to other doctors. And when I'll say this is why I'm here, or this is what's going on, the first thing they say, well, if you need a shot, let me know. And it's like, I don't want any of that. These things cost money. They have more billing. But anyway, so This study is from the what is that? The Journal of Clinical Investigation, right? So published by the American Society for Clinical Investigation, founded in 1908. So as you scroll, there's a whole long list of stuff here that I am not about to get into, but I skimmed this article pretty well. And what I was able to do is this chart here, I zoomed it, I made it bigger. So that chart right here is this chart right here. So basically, and where is this? Okay, good. So as you can see, what they're talking about is the GLP-1 drug-associated side effects and strategies to mitigate. So what this is talking about is if you are trying to prevent these things or if you notice these things, they're talking about, can you prevent it? Can you do something about it, etc. So let's just run through these real quick. And we're almost done, y'all. Let's keep it going. I don't really want to go past 30 minutes. Okay. So adverse event number 1, as you can see, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea is quite common. As it says, is there a causal relationship? Yes. Okay. And then they go, there's a high incidence of these things, and they talk about other things you can do. Acute pancreatitis. Now, I've heard conflicting reports on pancreatitis and pancreatic cancer. Some reports will say that it is an association, but it may depend on the specific type of GLP-1. They're not all the same. If we go back here, what you'll notice is there's multiple GLP-1s, as you can see, Trulicity, Byetta, whatever that is, Victoza, whatever that is, Ozempic, whatever that is. And you can see there's different types of GLP-1 drugs. So some of them have different side effects, but some of the side effects are pretty common among all of them. But anywho, so as we see here, man, how do we say this one? And these words, man, I want to know how you pronounce this one. I gotta find out how to pronounce that one. Oof, I wish I could get a copy and paste. Anyway, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna keep it moving. But so causal relationship, but I gotta, what is that? I've never seen that word before. So now what we're gonna do is time to go on a mission. It's time to go on a mission. Let's spell this word out. CHOLE. There we go. All right, and then we're gonna say, all right, let's try this. Pronunciation. Let's see what it says. Cholelithiasis? Are you serious? Look at this. Cholelithiasis. Cholelithiasis. Man, what kind of name? What kind of word is that? Anywho, cholelithiasis. All right. But what it says here is gallstones. So you telling me this is gallstones? Why didn't they just say gallstones? All right. Anyway, gallstones. Causal relationship probable. So now we're talking about vomiting. We got this problem here, and then we have the gallstones. And this one's actually, when I was reading some other literature, gallstones are way more common than I think people are aware of. Malignant neoplasm, no. Thyroid carcinoma. So now we're talking about thyroid cancer, and there's a causal relationship between GLP-1 drugs and thyroid cancer. Okay, so now what you're doing is you're increasing your risk for thyroid cancer by taking these drugs. Follicular papillary thyroid carcinoma, probable. So again, this is multiple cancers here, y'all. That's multiple. Okay, that's multiple means more than one. Diabetic retinopathy. Now we're talking about problems with your eyes. Okay, there is a causal relationship between GLP-1 drugs and issues with your sight. Okay, what is this? Non-arteritic ischemic optic neuropathy. So now, so this one says unclear. All right, moving on. Suicidal ideation, questionable, not sure. Reduced muscle mass, yes. And this one is quite common. And when you start seeing these celebrities, they like look like their skin is sagging. And you can just see it. You can always tell when a celebrity has been on the Ozempic, or at least I can. I don't know about y'all. But anyway, bunch of stuff here. Okay, bunch of stuff here. So the next thing here is this specific GLP-1, which isn't necessarily Ozempic. So again, for all the Ozempic lovers out there, this one is this one, however you say that one. I wonder what they don't have it on here. But anyway, as it says here, this death can result from drug complications, including serious stomach problems, gallbladder problems, kidney failure, pancreatitis. See, in this example, we're talking about pancreatitis. Like I said, depending on the literature, you do get problems. Now, again, remember, GLP-1s are going to stimulate your pancreas, which makes sense that you may have some inflammation of your pancreas, but then also thyroid cancer as well. Another issue is, notice this, situation becomes more concerning for diabetic patients using these medications as their risk for intestinal obstruction. Intestinal obstruction means the food isn't moving the way it wants to via peristalsis. And so now we're talking about the obstruction jumps 4.5 times higher compared to those using other glucose control options. Okay? So we're having problems with our bowels moving and bowel movements. Okay, so these are the risks associated with GLP-1s. Now, I'm gonna play a quick clip from a medical doctor talking about some of these issues, and that'll give me a second to actually scarf down some of my oatmeal, and then I'll let y'all check that out. So let me turn my desktop audio on, and I'm gonna turn my microphone off here in just a second. All right, bye-bye.
A woman reportedly developed gastroparesis after being on Ozempic for 6 months, and she died on her way to the hospital of aspiration. Her family is now suing the makers of Ozempic for wrongful death. I'm Dr. Frida. I'm a board-certified nephrologist, and I'm also board-certified in obesity medicine. And I want to talk about the link between GLP-1s like Ozempic and gastroparesis. I'll talk to you about the definition of gastroparesis, its symptoms, its causes, its risk factors. And we'll talk about the way that GLP-1s work on your body. We'll talk about the link between GLP-1s and gastrointestinal or digestive symptoms. And very importantly, what should you do if you're taking a GLP-1? So gastroparesis is a medical condition when the stomach slows down or stops emptying food into your intestines. Essentially, your stomach is paralyzed, gastroparesis. Symptoms of gastroparesis include chronic nausea, vomiting up undigested food, and abdominal pain. One of the most common causes of gastroparesis is diabetes. Having diabetes in and of itself can cause gastroparesis. And remember, Ozempic and the GLP-1s were originally studied to treat diabetes. Other causes of gastroparesis are GI or gastrointestinal surgeries. And other risk factors for gastroparesis include conditions like scleroderma, lupus, celiac disease. Taking some medications can put you at risk, like taking opioids. How do the GLP-1s work? Well, they work by slowing down the way your stomach empties, okay? So that you stay fuller longer. So what's the link between GLP-1s and gastrointestinal issues? Well, we know from the Step 1 trial that 44% of patients taking the GLP-1 agonist developed nausea, and 24% of the patients developed vomiting. So even on the early FDA warning labels, it was stated that gastrointestinal side effects were a possible adverse reaction. Things like nausea, vomiting, constipation, diarrhea, even abdominal pain. Now, in some later studies, it is suggested that gastroparesis has occurred in less than 1% of patients taking GLP-1s. So what should you do if you're taking a GLP-1 or if you're considering taking a GLP-1? You definitely need...
All right, so hopefully you get the idea about some of the risks associated with GLP-1s. And I was almost able to clear my whole oatmeal bowl when I was reading, but I didn't want to go too long on the video. But here's one thing that I find interesting about GLP-1s and their popularity as it is now. And this is something that I generally look for, and maybe not everybody looks for this, but when I start seeing celebrities pushing some type of, it might be some type of food product, like when we see all the Gatorade push, the Got Milk campaign and stuff, and etc. When you start hearing that, excuse me, man, it got warm in here. Turn my AC off for 1 second. Thought it was cool outside, but anyway. When you start noticing celebrities pushing things, this is when is the echo still there? That's probably because I thought I had my should be fine now. But anywho, when I start seeing celebrities, there's only one audio source. Maybe that's because of the desktop. Oh wait, here it is. Oh, there it is. All right, now the echo's gone. Thank you. I fixed it. All right. So when I started seeing celebrities push drugs and things like that, it starts to give me pause and makes me want to run. So some of the celebrities that have been pushing this stuff, you got Oprah, right? Oprah Winfrey, who she's got billions and billions, and she's out here telling everybody, yeah, you get Ozempic, and you get a GLP-1, and you get a GLP-1. Yeah, so I don't like when I start to see celebrities push things because they're about their money, and they're trying to get more money out of your pockets into theirs because they're paid advertisers, basically. Serena Williams, another one, all right? I don't know if y'all seen her body transformation, and she looks sick to me. But as you see, another one that's pushing GLP-1s. Another person, Elon Musk, is pushing GLP-1s. Okay, another person that's always in the news. Kelly Clarkson, another person that's pushing GLP-1. So when I started to see all of this energy behind a specific type of drug, and it's designed for weight loss, that gives me a little bit of pause. Now, here's one last thing, and I'm going to wrap this thing up. One of the things that I noticed when I was reading some of the comments on my post earlier was that many people talked about the fact that it's not just GLP-1s. You have to make sure you exercise and all this good stuff. So, again, I apologize for the sound of me eating, but if you just joined this or you're watching this later, I have to start a 24-hour fast, and I got to finish this last meal like in the next 5 minutes. So this video is going to be over in the next 5 minutes. You can bank on that. So managing your weight while taking GLP-1 medications can feel overwhelming. We don't know which foods that work best for your treatment. So as it says here, GLP medications work best when paired with a balanced diet focused on lean proteins, vegetables, and whole grains that support your body's natural processes. It says avoiding high-fat, sugary, and processed foods prevents uncomfortable side effects like nausea, bloating, etc., etc., etc. Certain foods like eggs, healthy fats, and fibrous vegetables may naturally support GLP-1 production in your body, working alongside your medication. So what they're saying is if you're taking these drugs, you should eat healthy. You should also, it also talks, there's other reports about, normally the doctor will recommend that you eat a healthy diet or whatever. Healthy diet, what does that mean? And you should also exercise. And I find that quite interesting that if the drug was so great, this is just my take. If the drug was so great, why not just be able to, this is a little outside, a little bit, off the rails here, but why not just take the drug and eat whatever you want? Like, why do you have to eat fiber-rich vegetables? You're supposed to be doing that anyway. But anyway, I find it interesting that they're always saying along with diet and exercise. Every time they talk about a weight loss drug or a diabetes drug or whatever, alongside diet and exercise, right? When in actuality, the diet and exercise is what's supposed to avoid you being on the drugs in the first place. So as we wrap up here, we talked about type 2 diabetes earlier. According to the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, research indicates that sufficiently intensive lifestyle intervention, particularly adopting a predominantly whole food, plant-based diet pattern, exercise, and sleep, may be comparable to bariatric surgery, which is a common thing that helps with type 2 diabetes. So they're basically saying instead of having surgery or other these medical procedures, you should be focusing on eating the stuff that you see around me right now. Okay. I'm not gonna play this video, but what this video talks about, and I'm gonna scroll through some of the little clips that they talk about in this video. As you can see here, they're talking about the influence of nutritional factors on the prevalence of diabetes. All right. You can see the writers right through here. Okay. And so when we look at the results, where did it go? I'm gonna keep this mute, and I'm gonna pause it when I see. Yeah, let me make sure my desktop audio is off. Yeah, my desktop audio is off. All right, perfect. There we go. So it says animal fat consumption in individuals positively associated with diabetes prevalence. So now we're talking about the fact that your diet is super important as it associates with type 2 diabetes. Okay. So let's see. Let's get to the next report here real quick, and we're going to wrap this thing up. I said in 5 minutes. That means I literally got 2 minutes left. All right. No, let's go. Let's get to the next part. Let's get to the next part. There we go. Longer life expectancy of vegetarians. Diabetic cases should accumulate at a higher rate in vegetarians than non-vegetarians. Now let's keep it going. Oh, come on. There we go. Flip that thing. All right. But as you can see here, what this is showing is that the rate of diabetes, if you're a non-vegetarian, we're here with we're at, I forget what the terminology is here for, but what we're noticing here is a decrease in the prevalence of diabetes. The more animal protein you remove from your diet, the less likely you are to be diabetic. So what I'm saying is they're telling you to take, GLP-1s, but then you also need to make sure you're eating all these fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. When in actuality, if you just eat the fruits and vegetables without the drug, these things are highly effective at reducing your risk for diabetes, and even reversing it. Again, we also talked about people taking GLP-1s for obesity. As it says here, this is, where is this study? This is in Frontiers in Nutrition journal. As of 2025, this is November of 2025, all plant-based diets resulted in a reduction of body weight, waist circumference, fat mass, and energy intake in comparison to the control group, which was a non-all plant-based diet. So my overall point here is simple. Yeah, I am quite sure that there are folks that are experiencing great things with GLP-1s, but they all come with side effects, namely cancer, pancreatitis, gallstones, things like that. Then not to mention the vomiting, the nausea, the diarrhea, and the other things that we mentioned that I can't remember. But the thing about the things that you see around me is they have no side effects, and they're going to come with additional benefits outside of making sure that you're not overweight or diabetic. All right, as always, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. No Q&A today because I got to finish my meal. As always, be happy, be healthy, and be fit forever. Catch me next week. I'll be here every Thursday, unless I'm not, at 7 p.m. Central Time for another Thriving Thursday episode. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitter X, Instagram, @FitnessCharles. Oh, yeah, that's what I used to go by. at Human Diet Coach. Excuse me. And I'll